So hi everybody and welcome back. This is the Unreal Engine 5 full game tutorial series for absolute beginners. This is video 4 for our tiny game. And in my last video I made a little mistake because we saved our level directly in this folder, level folder, which is okay, but the level folder needs to be placed in our game folder. So with other words, first in the content you create a new folder with the level of your project. In my case it's C, and then in C you open this one and then you create the level folder there, because we want to place everything later which is related to our project in this folder C. So here we have then level, later we make perhaps 3D meshes or characters or whatever, we place them later here in this folder, so we find everything in one place. Okay, and the next thing is what I want to show you here as well is we can make our game folder to a favorite. What does this mean? You go here to the game folder which you created, right click on it and add to favorites. And if you do this, then you see here on top in the drop down there is this favorite folder. Why is this handy? Because later when you have here many different project assets, then your favorite folder is here on top and you just click here and every subfolder will show here. And we can also color our project. You just select your project name here in the content drawer, right click on it and again go here to set color and then you choose any color you like. I just take this one. There are different options which you can play around. I just click here OK, and now we have a color which is also interesting. When you have here many other project assets, then you can color them, which is important, like we did here in the favorites. So if it's very important, you put it here in the favorites category. If not so important but you want to use it, you can color them and have a visual representation. Okay, we have now our created empty level, and now we have go to the project settings. Here on top you click edit. Here we have the project settings. You click on this one and now we go here in project section to the maps and mods. And here are many important settings, but right now we are only interested in default maps. We have here two categories. One category here is the editor startup map. You set it to the empty level which we just created. And what does this mean is here when you start this launcher, it will start with the map which you selected here for the editor. Let's say you have different kind of maps, you are working on a special map, then you can set it here so that you don't have to search it all time. This is just for development, the first part, but the second part is the very important setting for the player. This second part, it says here game default map. And here also you click and select, for example, now this map, but this map here is the start map for the player, which means this should be something like a main menu map or whatever you want where the player starts the game. So this setting super important. You will also see that here is no save button like in our editor. Then you have just to close here the project settings after you have set this one. So you just close it and the engine will auto save all your settings in the project settings. Okay, there is one more thing which we can set, but this is more a convenient setting, and therefore we go again here to edit, but this time we go here to editor preference. We click on it and here we have again many options. This time we are jumping to the general section. Here is appearance. You click on this one and we have to find something, but you can see it's a little bit hard to find what I want to show you. I already know it. It is this one here, asset editor open location, but sometimes it's annoying to search this because there are so many settings. If you know what you already search, then just write here editor open, and then it pops up, and that is sometimes more convenient. And the setting here, this asset editor open location, for example, this is just for convenience. You can click on this one, and then you can set it, for example, main window. And what happens then is when we go to our content drawer, we find anything, not the level here, but let's say any other thing, then the tab is not floating here around. Instead, it will be all time docked here on top. And later, if you don't like this one, you can just drag and drop it back. So it is only at start here on top. It's very convenient. And again, you will see here no save button. You just close this editor preference, and the engine will automatically save it again like the project settings. Okay, now we are going to the parts where I only say what you have to watch in other tutorials, because all the parts from now are a little bit longer. Okay, we go again here on top to edit. This time we go to the section plugins, and here in plugins there are a lot of plugins which are pre-installed. Your first job is, if you are interested, you don't have to, just watch tutorials which plugins are really important and which plugins are not so important. And the reason for that is all the not so important plugins you can later enable it, which means they are not present in your final project, which will give a little bit more performance boost perhaps, and also limit this disk space. Important, for example, for mobile games, because you don't want too much wasted space and so on. This is the first job, but careful, there are some core plugins, and if you are disabling them, your game can break. So all time before you start to removing plugins, go to the version control, make a snapshot, which means just save your project before you change anything. And if something breaks, you can go back. Very important. Okay, now we come to the next job which you have to watch in other tutorials, which is packaging, because the topic is very big and you can package for different kind of platforms. What I mean with that, when you go here on edit again, you go here down to the project settings, and then you have here a section in the project which is called packaging. And you can see again, here are many settings, and there is also the section here, right, not only in packaging, but when you scroll down, here is platforms which you have to set up if you want to use them. For example, if you want to make a mobile game for Android, then you have to click on Android, then set this one also up, and that can take a little bit longer because then you have to install additional programs and so on. But for our demonstration, I will just go for Windows, and I will just leave everything in default, because that's your job now to learn this in other tutorials for your special needs, because everybody has other interests, and that's why you watch here this one. But we are just go here now, we leave everything in default for test purposes, and then we go to this section here. You can see we have here two different sections. One is this one here, and one is this one here. Okay, right now we are interested here in platforms, because like I said, I just use the default settings for Windows now. And when I go here to Windows, you can see we have here two options: package project and cook content. Okay, let's talk about first package project, because you can see here we can package the project here in different modes. The one mode which we are interested is shipping mode. This one is the final package, which means the player can play our game with this one, and every asset and every unused things are not included in this version. But you can also see we can package here in other modes. For example, you want debug the final project, which means just check again for errors, or for development. But we are right now more interested here at start, but again, watch tutorials how to use that better. I make here super basic things. That's why I just will package later for shipping. Okay, and what does cook content do? Cook content is similar to package project, because when you package a project, you have to cook the content first, and then the package project will also add an exe file so you can play your game without the editor externally. And that's the real difference, because in cook content you don't have this exe file, which means it is just preparing your game asset, what you have here created, for packaging. And you can see this later when you package project, it will try to cook all the content what we have here also. So you can think about it, when you package project, first it cooks and then it creates this exe file. And if you just cook the content, it is not creating the exe file, but it is preparing every file what you have for the final release. It is just a pre-step. So we are not using cook project here in this demonstration, but of course you should again read and understand in tutorials, in other tutorials, what this mean, because they are using this for reducing time for big projects. Let's say you have a project with 100 GB, many steps, and if you cook content, the final release is then faster, and they are also checking errors, because if you have cooked content, you can make also debug. And like I said, for our little demonstration here, we are just jumping to package project because it will cooked anyway, and we are testing the final project for errors by just playing the game which we have created. So we are skipping this one step here, but later it's still important, so read this. And at last you can just go here, Windows, and just package the project which we have here just with the default settings to see how your project will package, and then you can also play it. Very important, because I have created here an empty project, you will see nothing. But if you used one of these other templates, for example this third person template or the first person template, then you have already a playable game. You can create a new project and test it there for packaging, just to see how it is. So, and with that said, I stop here this video, and like all time, if you have any questions, write in the comment section. See you in the next video. Bye and good luck.